His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa received a gift from Russian President Vladimir Putin consisting of 2 rare Siberian falcons, both the Gerfalcon species, in appreciation of the strong fraternal relations between His Majesty and the President and in furthering friendship ties between Bahrain and Russia. The gift was handed over to His Majesty at Safriya Palace yesterday by the Ambassador of Russia to Bahrain, Alexis Kosarev, accompanied by the head of the International Cooperation and Climate Change Department of the Ministry of Natural Resources and Ecology of Russia, Ivan Alexandrovich Kush, and the Director General of the Kamchatka Falconry Center in Russia, Shukrat Rozakov, upon their visit to the kingdom. They conveyed to His Majesty the greetings and appreciation to the Russian President and his sincere wishes of further growth and prosperity for Bahrain, while His Majesty conveyed his greetings and best wishes to the President and the Russian people for continued development and progress. His Majesty expressed thanks and appreciation to the President for the valuable gift and for his role in supporting the historic relations and developing joint cooperation. His Majesty emphasized the depth of the close bilateral relations and the shared desire to strengthen and expand them in all areas to achieve the aspirations of both countries and their peoples. For their part, the Russian ambassador and the 2 Russian officials expressed thanks and appreciation to His Majesty for the warm welcome and generous hospitality they received. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa extended congratulations to His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa on the kingdom's achievement of securing first place in the 2025 Microsoft Showcase Schools program. The program, achieved by the Ministry of Education, is organized by Microsoft with the participation of schools from around the world. His Royal Highness affirmed that this international recognition reflects Bahrain's unwavering commitment to advancing programs that boost educational institutions and promote innovation, creativity and excellence. He noted that the kingdom's concerted efforts to harness modern technology in advancing education. By integrating digital solutions into the learning process, teachers and students are empowered to leverage innovative tools that improve the quality of education outcomes and further enhance Bahrain's global position in digital education. His Royal Highness emphasized the importance of investing in Bahraini youth through the adoption of advanced educational technologies to nurture a generation equipped with the knowledge and skills to meet contemporary demands and drive comprehensive development. His Royal Highness further commended the Ministry of Education and the kingdom's dedicated educational workforce, whose unwavering commitment has been pivotal to this achievement. 125 public schools and 5 private schools in Bahrain, a total of 130 schools, have been awarded the title of Microsoft Technology Incubator Schools. The competition included 954 schools from 60 countries worldwide, with Bahraini schools achieving the highest international score. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa yesterday met with the Italian President of the Council of Ministers, Giorgia Meloni, at Palazzo Chigi in Rome as part of His Royal Highness's official visit to Italy. His Royal Highness underscored the depth of Bahrain-Italy relations, which continue to strengthen under the support of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. He highlighted the commitment of both countries to further advance their partnership in support of growth and prosperity that will benefit both nations and their peoples. He outlined the importance of deepening the strategic partnership across all levels, creating new opportunities aligned with the shared objectives of both countries. His Royal Highness commended Italy's role in promoting regional and global security and peace, noting that Bahrain, under the leadership of His Majesty the King, remains steadfast in its efforts to secure peace and advance the values of tolerance, coexistence and dialogue globally. He emphasized the importance of the agreements, MOUs and declarations signed during the visit, stating that they reflect tangible strides in advancing bilateral relations to consolidate existing partnerships and advance new areas of cooperation. In the presence of His Royal Highness, a Strategic Investment and Collaboration Partnership, the SIP, was signed between Bahrain's Ministry of Finance and National Economy and the Italian Ministry of Enterprises and Made in Italy. The SIP was signed on behalf of Bahrain by the Minister of Finance and National Economy, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, and on behalf of Italy by the Minister of Enterprises and Made in Italy, Adolfo Urso. During the official visit, the following was announced: cooperation in the field of space science, technology and applications between the Bahrain Space Agency and the Italian Space Agency, enhancing cooperation and developing customs work mechanisms, customs control and customs chain protection between the Customs Affairs Department in Bahrain and the Customs and Monopolies Agency in Italy. During the meeting, both parties discussed ways to further consolidate the Bahrain-Italy partnership in addition to the latest regional and international developments and issues of common interest. For her part, Meloni commended the leadership of His Majesty the King in advancing cooperation, stability and peace in the region and beyond. She also welcomed the visit of His Royal Highness, noting that it reflects the shared commitment and mutual interest in enhancing Bahraini-Italian relations in pursuit of common goals and aspirations. The Minister of the Prime Minister's Court, His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Abdul Latif bin Rashid Al Zayani, the Minister of Finance and National Economy, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, and several senior officials also attended the meeting. In line with His Majesty the King's commitment to boost relations between Bahrain and Italy, and as part of the official visit of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to the Vatican and Italy, several agreements were signed between Bahrain and Italy. The Minister of Finance and National Economy, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, and the Deputy Minister of Enterprise and Made in Italy, Valentino Valentini, witnessed the signing of the following: a framework collaboration agreement on cooperation and investment signed between Bahrain Mumtalakat Holding Company and Invest Industrial. The agreement was signed on behalf of Bahrain by the CEO of Mumtalakat, Sheikh Abdullah bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, and on behalf of Italy by the Chairman of the Board of Directors of Invest Industrial, Andrea Bonomi. An agreement on the bilateral banking partnership in the fields of trade and investment was signed between the National Bank of Bahrain and Banco BPM. The agreement was signed on behalf of Bahrain by NBB Chairperson of the Board of Directors, Hala Yatim, and on behalf of Italy by Banco BPM Chairperson of the Board of Directors, Massimo Tononi. And an agreement of the Italian-Bahraini Business Council to enhance bilateral cooperation and trade partnerships, signed on the Bahraini side by the co-chairman of the Italian-Bahraini Business Council, Khalid Rashid Al-Zayani, and on the Italian side by the co-chairman of the council, Ignazio Moncada. These agreements aim to enhance the strategic partnership by expanding avenues of cooperation and creating new economic and investment opportunities that support the shared aspirations of both countries. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Abdul Latif bin Rashid Al-Zayani, and several senior officials were also present. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa yesterday met with a business delegation which included senior officials from several commercial companies as well as the private sector from Italy as part of His Royal Highness's official visit to the Vatican and Italy. His Royal Highness highlighted the strength of relations between Bahrain and Italy and underscored the shared commitment to build upon the partnership. He commended the growth of bilateral relations across all fields, particularly in the economic and commercial sectors, reiterating the importance of the strategic partnership. His Royal Highness noted that this partnership has created extensive opportunities, enhanced joint investments, and fostered development initiatives that benefit both nations and their peoples. He noted that the next phase will see increased cooperation, paving the way for innovative investment projects that support economic growth and prosperity for both countries. During the meeting, the two sides also discussed several topics of mutual interest, including the latest developments in the global economy and their impact on investment and trade, with a view to enhancing joint coordination to address challenges and create future opportunities. The Minister of the Prime Minister's Court, His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and several senior officials also attended the meeting. Bahrain-Italy relations are witnessing remarkable development thanks to the continued interest of the two countries' leadership and their ongoing efforts to promote bilateral cooperation. More in this report.
The Bahrain-Italy relations date back decades and have been strengthened by mutual visits between senior leaders and officials of the two countries, which have carried tangible political and strategic messages. Among these visits, we recall the official visit of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa to Italy in 2023, which included several meetings with senior Italian officials confirming the dimensions of the relationship that go beyond political and economic interests to include high-level religious and cultural dialogue channels. Furthermore, the visit of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa to Italy in 2020 was of particular importance in the course of the Bahrain-Italy relations, as it confirmed the strength of political and diplomatic ties between the two countries. In return, the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni paid an official visit to Bahrain in 2025, during which she met with His Majesty the King and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, marking a shift in the level of relations between the two countries. Based on the principle of coexistence among followers of different religions and cultures, which Bahrain has adopted as its approach under the prosperous reign of His Majesty the King, the King Hamad Chair in Interfaith Dialogue and Coexistence was inaugurated at the Sapienza University of Rome in 2018. In terms of economic cooperation, Italy is one of the kingdom's main trading partners, and figures show that the volume of trade between the two countries has increased significantly in recent years, with many Italian companies seeking to invest in Bahrain taking advantage of the encouraging investment environment. With all these factors in place, The future will witness further cooperation in broader areas, contributing to the progress and advancement of both countries.
Upon the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister regarding the expansion of afforestation work in Bahrain as part of the afforestation plan, the Deputy Prime Minister Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, in the presence of a number of ministers and senior officials, planted the 14,000th tree to celebrate the completion of afforestation work on Muharraq Ring Road. Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah affirmed that the afforestation initiatives adopted by Bahrain under the leadership of His Majesty the King and the follow-up of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister embody a comprehensive vision aimed at enhancing environmental security with a view to achieving carbon neutrality by 2060. He said that the visit to Muharraq comes amid the royal attention and care that this ancient city receives from His Majesty the King, whose directives provided a supportive framework for various development projects, including the planting of trees and establishment of main roads and streets. He pointed out that the Muharraq Ring Road, one of the newest and largest road projects in Bahrain, embodied this approach by integrating sustainable environmental standards into major projects. The Minister of Municipalities Affairs and Agriculture, Engineer Wa'al Mubarak, expressed gratitude to the Deputy Prime Minister for planting the last tree and noted the progress made in implementing the afforestation plan by the Ministerial Committee for Development and Infrastructure Projects, chaired by the Deputy Prime Minister, and its role in enhancing coordination between the relevant authorities to ensure that the objectives are achieved in accordance with the highest standards. The Deputy Prime Minister Sheikh Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa visited Diyar Al Muharraq to view an Nasim project upon the completion of the construction of its villas. He was accompanied by the President of the Electricity and Water Authority, Engineer Kamal Muhammad, the Minister of Municipalities Affairs and Agriculture, Engineer Wa'al Mubarak, the Minister of Works, Engineer Ibrahim Al Hawaj, the Minister of Electricity and Water Affairs, Yasser Ahmedan, the Minister of Housing and Urban Planning, Amna Ramehi, the Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Real Estate Regulatory Authority, Engineer Isam Khalaf, and a number of senior officials at the invitation of the Chairman of Diyar Al Muharraq Company, Abdul Hakim Al Khayyat. The The Deputy Prime Minister affirmed that the real estate development sector continues to achieve qualitative leaps in line with the objectives of the comprehensive development process led by His Majesty the King and with the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. He noted that the government is proceeding with developing the regulatory and legislative structure for the real estate development sector to consolidate the principles of governance and transparency and protect the rights of customers. The Deputy Premier stressed the importance of public-private partnerships and pointed out that the private sector is a genuine partner in construction and development, particularly in boosting the contribution of non-oil sectors to the GDP. He inspected the Nasim project, praising the qualitative addition it offers to the urban landscape, alongside a series of other projects across Bahrain. He also commended Diyar al-Muharraq as a comprehensive urban model that combines modern housing with various commercial, service and investment activities. The President of the Bahrain Royal Equestrian and Endurance Federation, Brief, His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, met with the Minister of Municipalities Affairs and Agriculture, Engineer Wa'al Mbarak. The meeting discussed ways of joint cooperation to enhance efforts in supporting and developing equestrian sports and endurance racing. They also discussed a number of future projects that support equestrian sports and endurance racing and create a suitable environment for national riders, thereby enhancing Bahrain's standing at the regional and international levels. His Highness emphasized that this cooperation reflects the vision of the representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs and Honorary President of Brief, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, to promote equestrian sports and endurance racing. The Minister praised the efforts made by Brief and affirmed his keenness to strengthen cooperation with the Federation, thereby contributing to the development of equestrian sports and its facilities. The President of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Sheikh Abdul Rahman bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Khalifa, chaired the 30th session of the Council and praised the speech delivered by His Majesty the King to the Emergency Arab Islamic Summit in Doha. He affirmed Bahrain's firm position on the necessity of adhering to peaceful solutions as a fundamental approach for the future of the region and the world. He also expressed pleasure with the broad and successive international recognition of the Palestinian state by the majority of UN member states, commending the tireless efforts made by Saudi Arabia in this regard in partnership with France. He also welcomed the UNGA's decision to adopt the New York Declaration on the peaceful settlement of the Palestinian cause. The Council then reviewed the General Secretariat's memorandum regarding the President's participation in the 8th Congress of Leaders of World and Traditional Religions held in Kazakhstan. The Council then approved the results of the second cohort of the 59 graduates of the Holy Quran Teacher Diploma Program at the Council's Institute of Quran Recitations and Preparation of Quran Teachers. As part of his current visit to the U.S., the Minister of Interior, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, and the Secretary of Homeland Security of the U.S., Christy Lynn Noem, held an expanded meeting attended by the Commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard, Admiral Kevin Lundy, the Ambassador of Bahrain to the U.S., Sheikh Abdullah bin Rashid Al Khalifa, the Undersecretary of the Ministry of Interior for Nationality, Passports and Residence Affairs, Sheikh Hisham bin Abdul Rahman Al Khalifa, and the delegation accompanying the Minister. Upon arrival at the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the minister was received by the Secretary of Homeland Security, where an official reception ceremony was held. Noem welcomed the visit of the minister, emphasizing its importance in strengthening security cooperation and coordination, developing bilateral relations, and opening up further prospects for joint cooperation. She also highlighted the enduring strategic relations between the two countries, which have developed over the years. The Minister of Interior then delivered the following speech.
Secretary Noem, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to return to Washington, D.C., and I'm deeply grateful for the warm welcome. Our gathering here reflects the enduring strength and resilience of the ties between our two nations. For more than a century, Bahrain and the United States have stood together in pursuit of peace, stability, and shared prosperity. Under the wise leadership of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and President Donald Trump, this partnership has flourished, rooted in mutual respect and a common commitment to advancing global security. Bahrain's dedication to this relationship was reaffirmed during the recent visit of His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, Crown Prince and Prime Minister, which underscored Bahrain's steadfast commitment to strengthening our strategic partnership with the United States. Madam Secretary, your remarkable achievement in the public service reflects an unwavering commitment to law, order, and national security. We also acknowledge the tireless efforts of your officers who protect your homeland and contribute to stability and public safety worldwide. I would say the administration's priorities in securing borders, fortifying supply chains, and reinforcing strategic alliance align closely with Bahrain's own security objectives. It is within this spirit of shared purpose that we come together today to sign the Enhanced Border Security Partnership. This milestone MOU will strengthen the security of both our nations and protect Americans' lives in Bahrain, including personnel of the U.S. Navy, Fifth Fleet, and their families. Additionally, this signing carries special significance as it is advance our aspiration to join the U.S. visa waiver program. It is an outcome made possible by the trust and confidence built through years of close cooperation. Today's achievement complements the broader framework of our comprehensive security, integration, and prosperity agreement with the United Kingdom, joined earlier this year. CCPA has become the main platform for collaboration in security, emerging technology, and economic development. Within this framework, we look forward to deepening maritime cooperation, building on historic partnership between the United States Coast Guard and Bahrain's Coast Guard, and to working closely with the Department of Homeland Security to keep CCPA dynamic, forward-looking, and impactful for regional stability. We are also delighted that this milestone coincides with a new chapter in our people-to-people ties. On October 1st, our national carrier, Gulf Air, will inaugurate its first direct flight to the United States, arriving at JFK. This vital connection will strengthen commercial and investment links, expand opportunities of officials and investors, and also open new avenues of tourism, education, and culture exchange. The signing of the EPSP is thus both timely and essential, ensuring that as the flow of people between our nations grows, it does so with the highest standard of safety and security. Madam Secretary, Bahrain stands ready to build on this foundation, working alongside with the United States to advance initiatives that safeguard our nations and set a new benchmarks for partnership, security, and prosperity in the years ahead. Thank you.
The Minister and the Secretary of Homeland Security then signed a memorandum of bilateral cooperation in the field of border security aimed at exchanging information to protect the security and safety of territories of both countries and conducting checks related to borders, immigration, and travelers to prevent the entry of unqualified persons into their territories for reasons related to terrorism, crime, or national security. After that, discussions began between the two sides, with the Minister of Interior affirming the security and stability of Bahrain under the civilized approach and royal directives of His Majesty the King, pointed out the record decline in the overall crime rate and the measures taken based on community partnership and effective programs and initiatives to enhance community security, foremost among which are the Alternative Sentencing Project and the Open Prisons Program. He added that His Majesty's reform project has made the concepts of justice, coexistence, and openness firmly established in Bahraini society and has been instrumental in promoting the reform approach and strengthening national capabilities in the face of security challenges. The Minister praised the level of security cooperation based on the deep historical relations and strategic partnership between the two countries, stressing the importance of continuing coordination and exchange of experiences based on the CCPA agreement signed by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister during his visit to the U.S. The minister reviewed ways to exchange experiences and take effective measures to address challenges and benefit from modern technologies. In this context, cooperation and coordination in a number of areas were discussed, including artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, training and capacity building, visa exemption, and maritime security. During the meeting, the formation of a joint committee for security cooperation and coordination was discussed, as well as the development of a number of areas of joint work, capacity building, and opening new horizons for bilateral cooperation. A number of security issues and developments at the regional and international levels were also discussed, contributing to maintaining security and developing joint efforts to address current security challenges. Bahrain welcomed the peace plan presented by U.S. President Donald Trump regarding a ceasefire in Gaza, release of hostages and detainees, and the flow of humanitarian aid, considering it a positive initiative to achieve security and peace in the Middle East. The statement issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs called for concerted efforts of the international community and the commitment of all parties to support these peaceful efforts to end the war and alleviate the suffering of the people of Gaza. As part of the official visit of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to the Vatican in Italy, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Abdul Latif bin Rashid al-Zayani, and the Minister of Industry and Commerce, Abdullah Fakhro, met the Italian Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Antonio Tajani. The Italian Deputy Prime Minister commended the positive outcomes of His Royal Highness's official visit to Italy and meeting with the President of the Council of Ministers, Giorgia Meloni. He highlighted the importance of the visit in enhancing cooperation, noting the signing of the Strategic Investments and Collaboration Partnership, which will boost bilateral relations, expand trade and investment. For his part, Dr. Zayani emphasized the importance of His Royal Highness's visit to the Vatican and Italy and commended its positive results, which would help further the long-standing cooperation. He confirmed the Kingdom's interest in advancing bilateral cooperation and working together to advance security, stability, and prosperity in the region. The meeting discussed areas of cooperation including politics, economy, investment, tourism, culture, and science. The two sides emphasized the importance of implementing agreements and MOUs and agreed to continue consultation and coordination in international forums. They also discussed regional developments and their impact on security and stability, and efforts exerted to find peaceful solutions to regional conflicts and achieve security, stability, and peace in the region. The Minister of Education, Dr. Mohammed bin Mubarak Jum'a, praised the educational process in Bahrain for the support it receives from His Majesty the King and the follow-up of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, which enhanced the use of technology in education. More in this report.
Achievements made by Bahrain throughout its rich educational history, the most recent of which was the Education Ministry winning first place globally in the Microsoft Technology Incubator Schools program and the 2025 Microsoft Showcase Schools program. Establishing and adopting a digital culture in public and private schools, keeping pace with global developments is a fundamental approach to employing technology in education and enabling teachers and students to benefit from digital tools, contributing to improved educational outcomes. These factors enabled 130 schools to obtain the Microsoft Technology Incubator Schools program out of a competition that included 954 schools from 60 countries. This achievement leads Bahrain with the most number of schools to receive this classification. This global achievement would not have been possible without the efforts of all teams working in the education sector and relevant sectors within the Education Ministry, where they redoubled their efforts to achieve this result, securing Bahrain's first place globally this year. Continuing to invest the nation's children by employing the latest methods and technologies in education contributes to preparing a capable generation with the knowledge and skills to contribute to advancing comprehensive development.
The Kingdom of Bahrain achieved another milestone in safeguarding human rights by maintaining its Tier 1 status in the U.S. Department of State's Trafficking in Persons report for the 8th consecutive year. More in this report.
Reflecting the Kingdom of Bahrain's international efforts to combat trafficking in persons, Bahrain maintained its Tier 1 status in the U.S. Department of State's Trafficking in Persons report for the 8th consecutive year, which is the highest ranking given to countries committed to protection and prevention standards. This achievement highlights the Kingdom's comprehensive approach to strengthening the work environment, protecting rights, and adopting sustainable measures that reflect Bahrain's deep-rooted values and commitment to human dignity. It also reflects the international community's confidence in Bahrain's advanced system, which is based on progressive legislation such as the law on combating trafficking in persons, alongside labor and labor market laws, and the kingdom's accession to leading international conventions. At the institutional level, the Kingdom of Bahrain established specific protection centers and systems, including the Expatriate Protection Center, the National Referral Mechanism, a specialized public prosecution in court, a fund to support victims, in addition to a wage protection system and an international bank account number to guarantee the rights of all parties. The Kingdom also intensified its awareness-raising efforts through programs and forums in partnership with UN organizations and embassies, leading to the establishment of a regional training center to qualify national cadres and enhance the sustainability of these efforts. This international achievement confirms the Kingdom of Bahrain's unwavering commitment to protecting human dignity and establishing itself as a regional and international model in combating this cross-border crime.
The directives of His Majesty the King to develop the city of Muharraq have been met with widespread public support and great joy, particularly among residents of Muharraq, who have expressed their sincere gratitude for His Majesty's continued interest in the city. More in this report.
The directives of His Majesty the King to focus on developing the historic city of Muharraq, followed by specific projects and ongoing initiatives, have been met with great interest by citizens and the people of Muharraq in particular. They expressed their immense happiness with these directives and extended their gratitude to His Majesty the King and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister for fulfilling their aspirations to preserve the city's heritage and its authentic cultural and social splendor. The historical uniqueness of Muharraq and its social status, economic influence, and culture throughout history have shaped the character of the city and its noble people. The directives of His Majesty the King have been issued to preserve the status and heritage as an integral and active component of the cultural identity of Bahrain. The care shown by His Majesty the King to Muharraq is a noble gesture that meets the wishes of his loyal people who have expressed their sincere feelings towards their beloved leader, who cherishes Bahrain's rich history and strives to preserve its heritage and maintain its landmarks, promoting its national identity with great care and attention.
ونوجه هنا بوضع خطة عمل تختص بالمحافظة على الهوية التاريخية والثقافية لمباني ومدن البحرين، وسنعمل في سياق ذلك على إحياء قصر عيسى الكبير الذي سنعتمده كأحد المقار الرئيسية لعملنا، ومعها الأحياء المعروفة بمدينة المحرم التي نتطلع إلى عودة أهلها لها تكريما لذلك المجد الوطني المشهود في وطن الطيبة والكرامة.